Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 20-Minute Hop. I'm Sean. Today we are going to take off from Oconto, Wisconsin and fly down to Green Bay, Wisconsin in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the Cessna 152. Earlier this morning, I shot the how to do a pre-flight in the Cessna 152 using the actual handbook and checklist from ForeFlight. If you'd like to watch that video, go ahead and click here. Otherwise, we are going to get this thing going. Let's get our scratch pad up in ForeFlight and we can brief the details of today's trip. All right, 7 October, Oconto, Wisconsin to Green Bay, Wisconsin, 36 miles, 24 minutes. The reason it wouldn't actually take that long, it's actually about a 15-minute en route portion, but I've got a couple special waypoints set. And again, the brilliant thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator is the photogrammetry that is available through Bing Maps. And there are a couple relatives that live near Oconto that I want to fly over their house and see what it looks like. So I've got that built into the flight plan. And when I bring up my flight plan here in a moment, you'll see that. Taking off from Oconto Bake Municipal Airport, these are not the real frequencies. Microsoft Flight Simulator has taken and modified some of the frequencies to suit the purpose of the simulator, which makes sense because when you're talking about common traffic advisory frequencies, the CTAF, really three main CTAF frequencies we have: 122.8, 122.9, and 123.0. There are some other ones as well, but those three are the most common. So you are going to potentially have bleed over, and for the purpose of Microsoft Flight Simulator, it can't actually simulate the real physics of radio. So they've gone and they've created separation for the frequency blocks so that there is not any kind of duplication. So the frequencies available in Microsoft Flight Simulator do not really reflect what's on a sectional chart or what's in an airport facility directory. All right, field elevation for Oconto, 604 feet. Down to Green Bay. Winds are favoring runway 24, which is great. That's what I wanted to see this morning. We've got our tower and ground control frequencies there. Green Bay field elevation 684 feet. We'll be getting vectors for the final runway 24, 500, 200, 100 foot callouts, 1184, 884, and 784. Let's bring up our flight plan now. Going to take off out of Oconto, fly out to along the Oconto River to our first waypoint, my relative's house. Then we will fly outside of the Oconto traffic pattern. We're going to buzz on over to the edge, the shore of Green Bay here. We will fly on to this waypoint, relative's house, and then we're going to fly on down to the visual checkpoint for calling Green Bay approach. And then we will expect vectors into the Class Charlie airspace and landing runway 24 at Green Bay Austin Straubel Airport. Really looking forward to getting this going. Have not been doing 20-minute hop as much. The editing of videos is extremely cumbersome for any creators out there. If you are a creator, give me a thumbs up. If you have any tips or comments about how you edit your videos and do your flow, I'd love to read your comments. All right, let's just do our quick blue card risk assessment here.
Flight necessary, yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Who is in charge?
I am
Specify.
the sole pilot, the sole person on
All
board. It is
hazards
me.
identified, yes or no?
Yes, hazards are
Should
assessed.
the flight be stopped due to conditional changes, yes or no?
If we have conditional changes, we
Is there a
will
better way
change
to execute,
the flight.
yes or no?
The better way to execute would be flying this direct. Obviously, the longer time we're in the air, the longer time we're exposing ourselves to risk. But based on the purpose of this, and we're in a simulator, we're going to say go ahead with the flight.
Overwhelming sense of urgency, yes or no?
Nope.
Are your actions justified, yes or no?
Yes.
Is there an escape route, yes or no?
We do have an escape
Any
route.
rules being broken, yes or no?
No.
Are communications becoming tense?
Not at this point.
Deviations from assigned flight operations, yes or no?
And we'll say no for that.
Checklist complete.
Let's bring up our Cessna 152 checklist. Actually, let's bring up our passenger brief real quick. All right, aircraft type,
Aircraft type, briefed.
Cessna 152.
PIC responsibilities.
I'm the pilot in command. I'll be carrying out all operations on board the aircraft.
PIC responsibilities. Briefed. Emergency responsibilities. Briefed.
For emergency responsibilities, as the sole occupant on board the aircraft, if we do have a emergency arise, we will handle it as such. If need be, force the aircraft down on the ground to a suitable place, or we'll look for the best available spot, hopefully an airport, to set the airplane down in the event of an emergency.
Belts and shoulder harnesses. Operation and required use.
With a passenger on board, I would brief the operation of the seatbelt and shoulder harness, show them how they work and where they're located, and times that we would be using our seatbelts.
Doors and windows. How to secure and open.
And if the passenger was on board, I would brief
Seats.
how to use the doors
Adjusted
and
and
windows.
locked.
I would brief how to use the seats. And I'm going to just forego having Betty read this to us now. Smoking, no smoking on board, no smoking in the simulator. Environmental conditions, we would brief that to our passengers based on the comfort, if they're getting hot or cold, and how to operate that, and things that we can do to assist in making the flight more comfortable. No oxygen on board. We're flying at low altitude. Passenger discomfort fits into the environmental controls. We talked about that. In case of fire, we're going to cut fuel, we're going to cut electric, and we're going to get the aircraft on the ground. If the aircraft is on the ground, we will egress the aircraft and evacuate, make a phone call, and get the notify firemen rescue authorities. Brace positions, not required. I would brief that to a passenger on board. Emergency evacuation plan, again, this is clearly for if we are actually in the real airplane. The idea of me doing a passenger brief is so that I am just staying current, and I am staying competent, and I am staying proficient in saying the passenger brief and just thinking about these things. Emergency survival kit, I would brief where my emergency survival kit is, behind the right and left seat. If there was any other equipment on board, I would let the passenger know about that. We have briefed our sterile cockpit expectations for talking, takeoff to landing, urgent condition, traffic call out, clock position, or in the simplest terms, sterile cockpit. When we're in the airport environment, approaching or departing from the airport, we're looking for traffic, and we're only talking about things necessary for safe operation of the airplane. Once we're in cruise flight and we're outside of that high workload area, then it's okay to talk about our day, things that we're seeing on the ground, but we do need to be mindful and always be looking for traffic. So if we are looking for traffic, we do not want to cause our eyes to just be darting, sweeping back and forth. No, we want to use our peripheral vision and basically break up the sky into about 10-degree chunks. And the way that the human eye works is it is motion based. The eye is trying to detect motion, but the eye cannot detect motion when it's darting back and forth. The eye needs to be stable. So for each 10% of the sky that you're sweeping across, you need to focus and pause on that area for about 2 to 3 seconds. And your peripheral vision will work to detect that. And this is something you can actually do when you're driving in your car or you're out for a walk and you hear an airplane. Just pause and look in the sky and see how easy it is to pick out an airplane at that point. And as you're looking straight ahead, if you don't see anything, cause your vision to sweep a little bit to the right, about 10 degrees, 15 degrees, and then pause again and see if you can pick out that airplane. And you'll be amazed at how that works practicing looking for traffic. And then lastly would be passenger questions. What are their concerns? What sort of things do they, did I not touch on more, or what sort of things do they have questions about what I just have briefed, okay? All right, let's get the checklist going. Pre-flight inspection, required documents, airworthiness, aircraft registration, operating handbook, or operating limits, and weight and balance. Control wheel lock has been removed. We did that in the pre-flight. Ignition switch is off. Master switch on. I'm going to raise those flaps. They're up. Fuel quality indicators are on half tanks. Master switch off. Fuel shutoff valve is on. Gust lock is removed. Alright. Rest is the exterior walk around, so we get this before starting engine checklist. Pre-flight inspection complete. Seat belts, and harness. Adjust and lock. Fuel shutoff valve is on. Radios electrical equipment are off. Brakes holding. Circuit breakers are in. Starting engine. Before starting engine checklist complete. Make sure rich. Carb heat is cold. I have 3 shots. Got a half inch. Clear prop. Start time is 7:16. Headlights on. Oil pressure check. Starting engine checklist complete. Before takeoff checklist. So we'll taxi out for our run up and then we'll get our before takeoff checklist items completed. And we'll call taxi time 7:18. You're on the right. You're on the left. Brake check is good. Taxi light on. We don't have any other aircraft on the ramp, so I'm going to just pull right over here on the edge. We'll do our run up right here. Taxi light off. Alright. Parking brake set. Cabin doors closed and latched. Flight controls free and correct. Good on the left. Go forward. And back. Go back. And we know that our flight controls are correct because we did a thorough pre-flight inspection. See our elevators functioning. Elevators are good. Okay, flight instruments, going to look at field elevation for Oconto 604. And before we even listen to the weather, we'll set our altimeter there. Okay. And check our directional gyro. We're at about 264. That's good. Fuel shutoff valve is on. Mixture full rich. Elevator trim. Gas neutral. Set for takeoff. Holding the brakes. Throttle 1700. Check on the left and right. small drop. Back to both. Right, small drop. Check our carbeats. Small drop. Here's some streets of the meter. Definitely charging over there. Suction in between. It's good. 1,000. Alright, beacon nav lights are on. We will set strobe lights once we about to enter the runway environment. Throttles back to 1,000. Friction lock's fine, and holding the brakes still. And let's get our radio set. So we want AWAS set in the primary. And get Oconto AWAS here. And I can't set 124.92. 124.1 for Green Bay. So approach 119.
Kilo Oscar Charlie, Quebec, automated weather observation 1200 Zulu. Wind 287 at 7. Visibility 9er. Sky condition clear. Temperature 15 C dew point. 13 C altimeter 29er 69er. Kilo Oscar Charlie, Quebec, automated weather.
Alright, 2969, altimeter's functioning. Alright, let's get our taxi light on. Taxi on out here. Parking brake off. Taxi lights on. Turn right, clear on the right, clear on the left. Here's our old short line.
Approaching runway
Stop
04,
right here.
22 and 11.
Taxi light off. Check on the left and check on the right. Okay, before we take the runway here, let's just brief this up. So we've got our flight plan displayed here. We're going to take off out of Oconto, fly about 4 miles to the west, southwest here. With the first, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier or not, but got a couple of waypoints set in here for my relatives live near Oconto, near Green Bay, so I want to fly over their house and with the intense scenery that we have, just to see how it looks. So we'll take off out of Oconto. We'll basically be in the traffic pattern still within 3 miles of the airport. We'll intercept that. It's along the Oconto River. Then we'll turn south. We're going to fly out over to the shore. We'll climb up to 2,000 over the town of Pensauke. Then just about 3 miles to the south along the shore, we'll start our turn in, descend down to 1,600. My second relative's house, we'll do a couple passes over there. Then we will turn southeast, fly out towards Little Swamico, which is a VFR checkpoint for Green Bay approach. We'll call it Green Bay approach, let them know that we're inbound. We'll listen to ATIS, and then we will fly out the approach, and Green Bay is using runway 24. So very nice. We'll actually get to see Lambeau Field as we're coming in. One last thing, go back to our aero aerial map. Talked about if we have an engine failure. So 3 things with the engine failure. It's either going to happen on the runway, it's going to happen below 700 feet above ground level, or it's going to happen above 700 feet of ground level. Okay, we can see here that at Oconto, we've got the river directly off runway 29. It's fairly wooded, okay, and there's homes along here. So if we're coming off runway 29, if we have an engine failure on the runway, we're going to just stop the airplane. We'll stop the airplane, we'll shut everything down, and we'll get out. So shutting down is make sure to cut off, ignition switch to off, and master switch off. If we take off and we have our engine failure below 700 feet, we're going to maintain 61 knots. We are going to look for a suitable place to put the airplane down, even if that means that we set it down in the river. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but it's better to set the airplane down in a nice wide spot of the river than putting it down into trees, putting it down into somebody's house. Okay, we want to find a place that's the most clear to put the airplane down. If we're above 700 feet, we're going to maintain 61 knots for our best glide, and we will start a turn back towards the airport. It's not guaranteed that we're going to make the runway. We do have the grass strip on runway 0422. We got to keep our options open, but we also have to not put ourselves into a position we can't get out of. So best case scenario is we can turn back and we can use runway 11 for our touchdown. We might have to put the airplane down somewhere in the airport environment. We do have the grass areas around the airfield, so that would be a suitable place to put it down. But there are not really a lot of options. The only other option probably is this field across the river. So we'll be on our toes, we'll be watching for a place to put the airplane down, and then of course when landing is assured, we're going to make sure to idle cut off, ignition to off, master switch off, and we're going to open our cabin doors to make sure that if we have a hard landing and we bend the frame, that we don't damage. We can still get out of the aircraft. So let's get our lights on here. Taxi light, landing light, strobe light are on, and make sure our transponder is to altitude. It is. Normal takeoff, flaps to 0, carb heat's cold, throttle will be full open. Elevator control, left nose wheel at 50 knots, climb speed 75 knots. Takeoff checklist complete. The climb checklist loaded up here. Oconto traffic, Cessna 459 or 81, taking runway 29, back taxi for departure, Oconto. And we are clear on the right and clear on the left.
Approaching entered runways 04, 22 and
time is 7:36, 7:37. Here we go. Airspeed's live. Acting house rotate. Oconto traffic, Cessna 459 or 81, left crosswind runway 29, departing the pattern to the west. Oconto. Here's the Oconto River. Just 1,100 here. Maneuvering here around my relative's house. Just a little bit of a light here. Oconto traffic is 459 rate 1, 3 miles to the west, maneuvering 1,100. Oconto. Come back around one more time. Circle their place and then we will proceed on course. Radio tower down there, cell phone tower. Power lines. And what we'll do is just go line up on this bridge and then we'll just go wind level. I've never actually been to their house. I just looked it up on Google Maps from the address that I had for them. So, if you guys are watching, I hope that it looks cool, and I hope that you guys can see your property. I really want to do this in real life with you guys. Alright, so we are going to turn towards the lake now. Full power up to 2,000. Oconto traffic system 45981, 4 miles to the south, 1,800 climbing 2,000 Oconto. Power back. Driven that road many times. Very pretty. Beautiful Wisconsin morning. Leg along the brake.
Destination ATIS is 124.1.
Thank you. Other Q's home here. houses. I want to spot the road that they live on so I can just fly parallel to their house and have a good view of the property. This right here. There's something down there. South here, and then we will get back on course and call this pass complete. Let's see, there should be a spot here. Hopefully you guys saw your property or saw something that looks like your property. And again, I really want to do this in real life with you guys. Be a lot of fun. Alright, so let's get our sectional chart up. Swamico. And get Venus information.
information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu. Wind 286 at 7. Visibility, niter. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. Altimeter 29 decimal 69. ILS runway 36 in use. Landing and departing runway 36. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have hotel. Green Bay Airport information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu. Wind 286 at 7. Visibility, niter. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. Altimeter 29 decimal 69. ILS runway 36 in use. Landing and departing runway 36. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have hotel. Green Bay Airport information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu. Wind 286 at 7. Visibility, niter. Visibility, niter. Sky condition, clear. Green Bay Airport information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu. Wind 286 at 7. Visibility, niter. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13.
See if we can trigger runway change.
ILS runway 36 in use. Landing and departing runway 36. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have hotel. Green Bay Airport information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu.
Alright, they don't want to cooperate.
Niter. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Green Bay Airport information, Hotel ONE200 Zulu. Wind 229 at 7. Visibility, niter.
Request I work here through instrument flight plan, request passing. Green Bay approach Cessna 459 at 1, Cessna 152, 5 miles south of Little Swamico, 2,400 inbound Green Bay landing with hotel.
Green Bay approach Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo is type Cessna 152 3 miles northeast of 8 Whiskey 12,300 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo Green Bay approach. Squawk 7242.
Squawk 7242, 54981, 7242.
Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo radar contact 2 miles northeast of 8 Whiskey 12,300 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Maintain on navigation.
45981, maintain on navigation.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo.
So that's not realistic. Not realistic. We would not be requesting a transition. They'd be sequencing us for landing. So let's just give tower a call. Bay Tower System 45981, 4 miles to the north. Inbound landing with hotel.
Green Bay Tower Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo is 6 miles northeast with hotel to land.
Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo Green Bay Tower. Fly straight in runway 24. Altimeter 29.69er, wind 229er if 7.
Fly straight in runway 24, Cessna 45981.
X-Ray Sierra Romeo cleared to land runway 24. Wind 229er at 7.
Go land runway 24, Cessna 45981.
Cleared to land runway 24 Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo.
So naval field right out there. So I'm going to switch on auto land because I want to go sightseeing here. Okay. Thank you, autopilot.
Final runway 24.
Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo exit runway when able. Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo contact ground on ONE 21.9er.
I can't even repeat that. Owen. Okay. That's screwed up. Alright. Roger.
Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo, please acknowledge.
Yeah. Ground point 9er, Cessna 45981.
Going to 121.9er Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo.
Strobe light off, taxi light off, landing light off, carpet cold. Flaps are up. So I definitely got caught up in flight sim, and I did not do my before landing or normal landing checklist. Seatbelts were secured, mixture was rich, and I got carb heat right on short final. Normal landing, 60 to 70 knots. We had the full flaps, airspeed, touchdown. Main wheels first, definitely for the touchdown, and lowered the nose wheel gently, braking was minimum. And to ground here. Green Bay grounds is now 45981, clear of 24, request taxi to parking, Jet Air.
Green Bay ground, Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo, request taxi to parking.
Cessna Victor Hotel, X-Ray Sierra Romeo, taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha.
Taxi to parking Bay Alpha, Cessna 45981.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Cessna X-Ray Sierra Romeo.
Via Alpha. Okay, but we are just going to go where we want to go. One thing I still just do not understand is why they came up with the idea that aircraft park the way that they do. When we're taxiing to the ramp, we don't just park in, we don't pull into a spot the way that these rampers are. When you're taxiing up to an FBO, you taxi right up to the front door. And that's what we're going to do here. Thanks for the help, guys, but one aspect of this that is just corny. But I do love the marshallers. So the marshallers are awesome, but it's like, come on, let's be realistic about it. We don't just taxi up to some far-flung parking spot out there. Taxi up to where the FBO facility is. This actually looks pretty good. The structure that they have here for the Jet Air facility is good. The textures on the side of the building, not realistic, but the way that this building's surrounded like this, and then this wing out here, it does look pretty darn good. All right, let's get back in here. Shut the airplane down. Okay, parking brake set. Exit lights off. Radio's electrical equipment off. On to off. Ignition off. Master switch. Off. Beacon off. 812. Well, everyone, thank you very much for flying with me on the 20-minute hop today. I hope you enjoyed the flight. Hope that you learned something. It's always a great pleasure to have you along with me, and I really do appreciate your time. Our next flight, we will be getting back into Beechcraft Bonanza. Won't be the 836, no longer 9092 Tango, at least for a while, until I can figure out how to bring aircraft over from Flight Sim X to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Looks like they're doing a FOD run out there. That's cool. We'll be getting in the new Bonanza G36, and we will continue our course north to Alaska. Looking really forward to it. I mean, the scenery is just so spectacular and gorgeous. I mean, it just makes this so much fun. You know, ATC, the ATC engine here is annoying. Okay, so they don't have marshalers outside of the FBO. Big deal. I mean, if you want to split hairs, let's split hairs, right? All in all, and I'm so pleased with this new product, and just is outstanding, and I can't wait for the next patch and just to see what updates and improvements that they're making to this in the short run and in the long run. The potential for this is just mind-blowing. Thanks for watching 20-Minute Hop. We'll see you on the next one. I'm Sean. So long.